Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Looking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. Hope your work week is off to a good start. We're working towards long weekend, end of the year. But we're here hanging out and appreciate you being here with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jacob back and Casey Gaines back there on the ones and twos. Our Tuesday staples coming up. We'll have Glenn West at 1:30. He covers LSU for Go 24/7. We'll talk to Glenn about some basketball and, of course, LSU's transfer portal situation, signing day, and the bowl game against Wisconsin. We'll talk to Sharif Ishak about the Saints at 2:30. Also, a little bit of Pelicans talk with Sharif as well. I've got some thoughts on a newfound Saints pass rush here that we can get to at the top of hour number 2, as well as a transfer portal quarterback that LSU got coming up in 15 minutes. But I do want to start today with LSU's preparation for Wisconsin. I'm not here to blow smoke. I'm not here to make anything up. I'm here to tell you how I really feel, and you know at this point how I feel about these bowl games. I think this is a glorified spring game. I think they've been devalued by coaching terminations in November, by a transfer portal that opens up in early December, by opt-outs that don't find the game significant, and that has dampened my outlook on bowl season. You already know that if you listen to this show with any kind of regularity. However, I will tell you this. Watching LSU go through practice today got me excited to watch LSU play against Wisconsin. Why? Well, you're going to get a really good look at Garrett Nussmeier on January 1st. Better than I thought, quite frankly. Because we now know that Jaden Daniels isn't going to play. He was at practice today, standing there in the end zone with sweats on. Garrett Nussmeier was going through, taking the first team reps. Ricky Collins was behind him. He had some walk-ons back behind them. And Garrett Nussmeier is working with the first offense. And not the first offense minus your first-round left tackle, not the first offense minus your Biletnikoff finalist, not your first offense minus the guy who leads the college football in touchdown catches. No. The entire offensive line is ready to roll. Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors are going through every drill, full speed, full contact. They were running 11 on 11 with the quarterback obviously in a no-contact jersey, and they're bringing guys to the ground, and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas were out there. And so when Brian Kelly says yesterday, hey, we feel like everybody outside of Jaden is coming and playing, it looks like that to this point. And that's cool because Garrett Nussmeier is likely getting the keys to this car. We'll talk about that in the next segment. And he's got a great opportunity in this bowl game because you're facing a solid defense. It's not great. Nothing in the Big Ten West is great. But Wisconsin played some defense this year. They've got a couple of guys who are opting out of this bowl game, but it's a functional defense. And this is a cushy landing spot. Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Charles Turner, Logan Diggs, full practice participant today, Mason Taylor, Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Kyron Lacey. This is the best offense in college football, minus the Heisman Trophy winner, insert Garrett Nussmeier. Now, this will be something you hear me repeat multiple times between now and the end of next week. I promise you, I am not going to show up for work when I think the 3rd is our first show on ESPN. I'm not going to show up for the first Hunt Palmer show of the next year and take Garrett Nussmeier's ReliaQuest Bowl performance and immediately extrapolate out what LSU's record's going to be next year because of that effort. 4 quarters of football is not going to sway me permanently on Garrett Nussmeier. If he goes out there and throws for 360 yards and 4 touchdowns, man, I'll be excited about that, and that's great. Okay, you're probably going to lose a lot of this receiver production, and you're going to be playing teams that are a little more committed to their season next year than just this game against Wisconsin. If he goes out there and throws 3 picks, I'll be bummed out. I'm not going to tell you he stinks, put Swan in. I'm not going to have that visceral reaction to this game. I will tell you, I'm now a very, very interested spectator to this game. More interested than I would be if 3 offensive linemen opted out and Neighbors and Thomas opted out and you had to throw 2 freshmen out there. That would be tough. This is a great spot, and I'm hopeful that we'll see a really, really good Garrett Nussmeier coming up in the game on New Year's Day. As far as other players that were there and fully participating in practice, Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, full participants. Mekhi didn't have any sort of red jersey on, no contact. Nope, he was out there popping pads, running through drills. I would expect to see him play. Same with Mason Smith. Another name that we saw at practice today that I did not expect to see there was Sage Ryan. Not because I thought Sage was headed for the NFL, because he put out that he was considering entering the transfer portal. We know that his name's not officially in, but he's out there practicing. So theoretically, the door is open for a return there. I don't pretend to have any inside sources and understanding of exactly what the situation is, but I can tell you that 15 was out there and he was going through drills, and I would expect to see him play against Wisconsin at this point. If tomorrow they have practice and he's not there, well, then okay, that decision may have been made. But for right now, he's out there. As far as things that we saw, I thought Garrett Nussmeier looked good in the practice that I was able to see today. Hit a couple of deep shots, did a really nice job of operating the offense in 11-on-11. He did throw one ball that was pretty grossly underthrown down the right sideline and should have been intercepted. I could not tell if it was Ashton Stamps or Javian Toviano on that side. Lots of the guys had their uniforms rolled up over the pads, and the numbers are really hard to see. So I don't know exactly who's who on every single play, especially that one that was weighed at 45 yards down the right sideline away from me. But that was one ball that Nussmeier did underthrow that should have probably been intercepted, but was dropped on the way down. But he hit Neighbors over the middle for a couple of really nice ones, hit Kyron Lacey for a couple of nice ones over the middle, and they threw a lot of short passes, kind of getting into the flow of an offense. But Nussmeier looked confident and comfortable. We can put both of those words out there. He looked both of those, and I thought did a nice job of running the offense. As far as some of the young receivers, these are some guys that I thought we would see a lot of in this game, because I just did not believe that Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas would play. And maybe Malik plays for 21 yards and bounces. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there. Maybe they play the whole game. That's great. Maybe they don't, and you'll see some of these younger receivers beyond Kyron Lacey. Aaron Anderson was out there and was heavily involved, but you saw some of the younger players have their flashes and their setbacks. Shelton Sampson had one huge play for a long touchdown in one-on-ones. He also had a pretty easy drop that we saw in the Grambling game. There were 2 opportunities for him to catch a touchdown, and he dropped both of them. I saw Jalen Brown, who we know is just an unbelievably fast player, but he had one costly drop on. There weren't even a defense out there on this one. He was just running a post route and hit him right in the hands, and he dropped it. And then on a one-on-one, he's running, trying to break down and make a move on the corner, and he just trips over his own feet. Nobody even touched him. He just fell down. So that's a guy who's got all this raw ability and speed and God-given talent, but there's just a learning curve that comes with learning how to play the position and being sudden and getting in and out of your breaks and catching the ball, looking it in, and all that kind of stuff. And I think that crop of wide receivers, well, I think Shelton Sampson is a super talent. I think Jalen Brown is a super talent. I think Kyle Parker is immensely talented. Like, these guys are highly thought of, and it's obvious the gifts they have, but it's just not quite there yet. And they didn't need them this year because they had 2 of the best receivers in the country and an offense that was just churning through yards and points week after week. I was thinking we would see a little bit more of them on January 1st. Maybe we don't, but I did see them a little bit today, and they've got a little bit of a ways to go at this point. I did like the way Chris Hilton practiced today. Had a couple of really nice catches over the middle, and then the last catch that I saw on the day, they were in one-on-ones. He was on a DB, just ran a stutter and go. He cooked him. Nussmeier dropped it right in the bucket for a long touchdown. And if we know anything about Chris Hilton, it's that he can do that. He can pick him up and put him down in a big way. So I thought I was encouraged today by what I saw based on participation. This day and age, I have no expectations when it comes to who's playing in bowls and what team you put out there on the field. LSU looks like a team that, outside of the biggest piece, the Heisman Trophy winner, is very much intact, looks committed to playing in this game, and that's a good thing. It's not going to sway me completely on being fully bought in on these things, but I'm more excited today doing this show right now than I was yesterday, watching those guys to go through practice and go, okay, this program is taking this game seriously. I'm still not going to tell you that I think the outcome of this game matters when you go to Vegas and play USC, good or bad. I don't necessarily buy into that a ton, and I'm not all gung-ho for the 10th win. I'm just being honest with you. But I'm excited to watch Garrett Nussmeier play with this really cushy landing spot that he's got with his entire offensive line and his weapons at his disposal. That's a great spot for Garrett to get some confidence and do some things really well in the bowl game. So that was my look out at practice today in the indoor facility. Tigers got 2 weeks worth of practices before they play the ReliaQuest Bowl against Wisconsin coming up down in Tampa on New Year's Day. It'll be an 11 o'clock kickoff our time. That means I'm on the air at 9 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day. That should be a doozy of a pregame show. Handy will be on at 7, so I don't envy him at all. So that's what we've got here with LSU football. Glenn West going to be here to talk a little bit more LSU football coming up in about 20 minutes. But when we come back, LSU has added a quarterback in the transfer portal. I've got thoughts on what I think that means. I'll share those next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
LWCC is Louisiana loyal. They're elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana. You already knew that. Marucci Sports is a champion of Louisiana. You already knew that. If you'd like to learn more about these champions of Louisiana that we've told you about over the last 2 years, go to lwcc.com/champions. You'll find Marucci Sports there. You'll see all the others that we have talked about because they deserve to be talked about because of the great things they're doing in our state. Marucci, was founded in a backyard right here in Baton Rouge, and now they're on the forefront of baseball technology. It's a growing industry, and Marucci is right in the middle of it. If you know a champion of Louisiana, do what I just said. Go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate a new champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story here. Marucci Sports is a champion of Louisiana. LWCC is Louisiana loyal.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee, $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll get you an LSU practice report, and Saints getting ready to head out west, take on the Rams. We'll have the latest 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Chat with Glenn West coming up here in about 15 minutes. Glenn covers the Tigers for Go 24/7. He's with us each and every Tuesday. I'm going to continue talking LSU here as we just talked about this landing spot that Garrett Nussmeier has with this bowl game and this opportunity. I can't think of a better spot to play in all of college football coming up here on the first. It's not a super high profile game. It's not against an elite team, but a good one. And you've got so many great weapons around you that it just feels like a really good practice opportunity for Garrett Nussmeier to me under the real lights. And we think that is going to be the springboard to Garrett Nussmeier being the quarterback at LSU next year. He's certainly been here for 3 years. He sat behind 2 different starting quarterbacks. He's paid his dues. He's come in mock-up time. He's never complained. He's been a great teammate. You've seen him celebrating with Jaden Daniels all year long on touchdowns and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of his time. But LSU, I think rightly, was not going to go into next football season with Garrett Nussmeier, Ricky Collins, and Colin Hurley, and that's it at quarterback. They wanted to go find someone who made sense to fit in to that position room. And yesterday we learned that is A.J. Swan. A.J. Swan is a transfer from Vanderbilt. He's played 2 seasons up in Nashville for the Doors. And when you look at him in terms of his recruiting profile, when he came into Vanderbilt, as you'd expect, he was a 3-star, the 25th ranked quarterback in the country by On3. He's from the state of Georgia, Canton, Georgia. And he came in to Vanderbilt as a 6'3", 200-pound, big-armed quarterback. And they immediately turned to him his freshman year as the guy. He played in their opener against Hawaii and played in the game against Wake the next week and eventually took over as the guy at quarterback for Vanderbilt as a freshman. And as you would imagine, it didn't go very well from a wins and losses perspective. You're talking about 7 losses and 2 wins. And the numbers aren't eye-popping. He did take care of the football as a freshman, only threw 2 interceptions. He wasn't like he was lighting it up in terms of passing touchdowns. He had 10, so 10 touchdowns and 2 picks, and he was throwing for somewhere in the neighborhood of 160 yards a game. He got up over 250 yards against Northern Illinois. He threw for a lot of yards against Ole Miss that day. Against Ole Miss, he was 27 of 38 for 281 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he did not turn the ball over, so that was a solid effort. But a lot of the games look like the game against Georgia or Missouri. 12 of 23 for 105 yards, 13 of 30 for 115 yards. Against Tennessee, 11 of 17 for 79 yards. Like, far from lighting it up. Now, your supporting cast is atrocious. You're a true freshman. You're probably running for your life. It's a tough spot to be thrust into as a freshman. But I can tell you in watching the highlights of A.J. Swan play, he's a big kid, big frame, big arm, decent athlete. Not great, decent athlete. Has some tools that would lend itself to playing the position in the SEC. You just can't learn much from playing from the last 2 Vanderbilt teams. They're just awful. So I can't I'm not going to sit here and tell you exactly what kind of player A.J. Swan is because I don't know. I don't think most of the quarterbacks in the SEC would be tossed into that situation and be very good. I just don't. But I can tell you that he's got some skills and he's played a ton of SEC football. Last year he played against Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Missouri, South Carolina, Tennessee, and this year he played in 2 games against Kentucky and Tennessee and then played against Wake. So that's 9 SEC games he has played in as a quarterback, and this year he was asked to throw it a ton. He threw it 40 times against Kentucky, 35 against UNLV, 39 against Wake, 30 more against Hawaii, 29 against Alabama A&M. Like he's an experienced guy. And so it feels like to me, as I size up this entire situation, that Garrett Nussmeier feels like he's got the inside track to me. That's the way this looks. A.J. Swan looks to me to be a guy that, you know what, he's played in 14 college games. Ricky Collins has had no meaningful experience. This guy is an upgrade to the rest of our room. Colin Hurley's 17 years old, okay? I don't think they're counting on him to be a huge contributor against UCLA and USC in September next year. This is a guy they're bringing in to upgrade the experience level and the ability level in the quarterback room. I don't think this is a Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, he's the starter. I could be wrong, and I think he'll have an opportunity to compete for that job. And I can tell you, he'll probably get down there and look at some of the guys that he's throwing to, and certainly the guys in front of him blocking and go, this is nice. It's like going from Motel 6 to the Four Seasons. But it doesn't feel like he's coming in to start. Maybe I'm wrong. But you've looked at plenty of guys who have transferred in the Southeastern Conference and have not been the starter at the place they've transferred. Spencer Sanders, Walker Howard at Ole Miss this year. Max Johnson to Texas A&M sat behind Connor Wigman. JT Daniels famously went to Georgia and couldn't beat out Stetson Bennett. Joe Milton transferred to Tennessee. He was the starter, but lost that job to Hendon Hooker. I mean, the list is pretty long. TJ Finley went to Auburn and wasn't the starter. Zach Calzada won that job and then eventually lost it. So you've seen a lot of guys in the SEC transfer and not necessarily be the guy. This is what this feels like. And I think for LSU, it's a smart move. I think bringing in available 20-year-old experienced quarterbacks is good practice. And I don't think you have to risk scaring Garrett Nussmeier. He's been in competitive quarterback rooms before and understands that you got to compete. I always think, and every case is different, and I've never spoken to Garrett Nussmeier one word, not once. But it feels like coaches' kids kind of get it a little more than kids who were maybe coddled and brought up saying, you're the greatest thing ever and I'll go to bat for you. Coaches' kids are usually said, like, hey, you got to go win the job. That's what a coach's job is. Your job is to go win the job. Their job is to pick the winner. And it feels like Nussmeier probably operates that way. Not, oh, you're Mr. 4-star quarterback. We got to make sure you start. No. Like, when's practice? I'll be there. So it feels that way, and I think A.J. Swan probably has a fairly good sense of what he's walking into. He's walking into a situation where a quarterback that has sat for 3 years, 2 of which have been in Mike Denbrock's system, 1 of which watching the Heisman Trophy winner and being inserted into play in the bowl game, is probably the guy with the inside track to start. You're being brought in to a blue blood college football program that has ambitions of championships, very much unlike the place you just were. And you'll have an opportunity to go out there and work and practice, and we'll see you in the spring. Work hard in the summer, and maybe you become the starter. Maybe because of unforeseen circumstances like an injury, you're asked to go out there. Hell, LSU had a starting quarterback fall on a dock and break his arm a couple years ago. So anything can happen, I guess. But this, to me, from the outside, kind of looking at the situation, feels more like, hey, can you come in, give us some depth, work hard, and be a solid backup, than it is, hey, you got a real chance to be the starting quarterback at LSU next year. I don't know what the pitch was, and I don't know exactly what the situation is at South Carolina that A.J. Swan looked at, and most people thought he was going to go to South Carolina. We talked to Billy Embody on the show yesterday at this time, and he said he thought he would go to South Carolina. So he looked at that situation and looked at LSU and decided LSU was the spot. I still think that Garrett Nussmeier has the inside track. I'm not calling it a slam dunk by any circumstance. Like, that's not where I'm trying to go. But I do think that LSU goes into the spring with the great line from Frank Wilson, the depth chart's etched in sand. Etched in sand, Nussmeier 1, Swan 2, Collins 3, Hurley 4. That's what it feels like is written in the sand. There's a wave coming, roll that over? I don't know. But I think it's a good idea for LSU to go out there and add a quarterback. Most schools this time of year are doing that, and I think LSU has put itself in a pretty good situation to do it. I'll chat with Glenn West about it and what he thinks about the addition of A.J. Swan. I want to talk to him about what he thinks about this team and what the bowl game kind of means in his view. Do want to talk a little basketball with Glenn as well, so we've got plenty to get to. If you're looking for something to do tonight, I know a lot of people are kind of winding things down from a work perspective, looking to get out of the house and have a little bit of fun. Plucker Sports Trivia each and every Tuesday. We'll be at the Nicholson location at 8:30 tonight. Playing sports trivia, you can win gift cards, drink delicious cold beers, eat some fantastic wings, watch some bowls on TV, watch some NBA basketball on TV. Always an enjoyable time at Pluckers on Nicholson. We'll be there tonight at 8:30. Hope you can join us for sports trivia. Glenn West with us next.
The Hunt Palmer Show. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford is taking $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford Expedition. $15,000 off new Ford Expedition. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
His name was King. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Ford is taking $15,000 off MSRP on new 23 Ford Expedition. $15,000 off new Ford Expedition. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Glide and twirl in a winter wonderland. Skating on the river is back. Ice skating at the Raising Cane's River Center Arena, December 18th through 31st. Visit RaisingCanesRiverCenter.com for scheduled times, dates, and to purchase tickets. Sponsored by Fox 44, NBC Local 33, Guarantee Media, and Acadian Ambulance.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch. The original walk-ons, Burbank at Nicholson. Scott Rabelais will be with us along with Wes Reynolds and professional sports handicapper Randy McKay. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Still a lot of Saints to talk about in hour number 2. 30 minutes from right now, I'll tell you about what I think of the Saints' newfound pass rush over the last couple of weeks. We'll also have Sharif Ishak coming on an hour from right now, talking all things black and gold, as well as a little bit of Pelicans chatter. But we'll stick with the LSU theme of hour number 1. We'll chat with our guy Glenn West of GOAT 24/7 as he joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Glenn, how are you?
Doing well, Hunt. How are you?
Doing quite well. You're, as tall as you are up on the catwalk today. Can you even see practice?
Yeah, I can see it pretty fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the tops of helmets. It's like I'm usually looking at the tops of other people's heads for most of the day, so I can pick out some players every once in a while.
What was your biggest takeaway from a little time out at the indoor facility this morning?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably first and foremost, and I'm sure you've already touched on it, but Sage Ryan was out there today, and of course, there's some reports out there that he's thinking about entering the transfer portal. So the fact that he was out there practicing, and at one point he was getting some really one-on-one instruction from Brian Kelly for a couple minutes there, and looked pretty engaged. Was rotating in. He wasn't really with the first team a whole lot. He was rotating in mostly with second and third teams for the sessions that we got to see. But that was a little bit surprising in terms of just what you would expect in terms of him potentially leaving and kind of what that could mean. If LSU's able to maybe change his mind there. I mean, we'll see kind of here as the days and weeks unfold, but certainly you don't want to be losing guys in the secondary, and you want to be adding to that group and making it as much of a competition as possible. So it was nice to see Sage out there.
Were you surprised to see Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas fully participating?
I wasn't. I mean, I think we had heard last week that they were participating in practices, so it was nice to see them out there as well. And, I think, look, I don't know how much those guys will play in the bowl game. They were certainly working in with the first team some, but they were also they were rotating a lot of guys in with Nussmeier today, and I think that was a really good thing for them to do as they kind of transition into the next phase of this offense and getting some of those guys like Aaron Anderson and Chris Hilton and Shelton Sampson and just kind of running down the line there, some of those younger receivers. It's good to get them as much work with Nussmeier as possible, but certainly with you're going to have Neighbors and Thomas in this game. You want to use them for as much as you want, for as much as they'll play, and so we'll see if those guys play the whole game or there's just a couple quarters. But it was nice to see those guys out there for sure.
How big a spot is this for Garrett Nussmeier against Wisconsin?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that question.
Oh, good. How big a spot is this for Garrett Nussmeier?
Yeah. I mean, this is huge for him. I mean, it's been kind of 3 years in the making for him to kind of get this opportunity to be the anticipated starter for a game. I mean, he had a game against Arkansas as a true freshman where he played most of the game, but there was also Max Johnson that was in the first couple of series. So this is really the first opportunity here that Garrett's going to have to prepare a whole week as the starter, or I should say a couple weeks here as the starter. And, it'll give the coaching staff, it'll give, fans and really everyone who watches and covers the team to get a good glimpse of what what could be next year with him under center and how this offense could look. I think, we talked with Brian Kelly yesterday, and he told us that, look, Garrett's a different player than Jaden. He's somebody that's going to want to he's someone they're not going to have to coach to tell him to push the ball down the field. He's going to really do that on his own and be aggressive. And obviously he doesn't have the athletic traits somebody like Jaden has, but the fact that LSU's got so many of these weapons that are coming back for this game, I think really helps him in terms of preparing for the bowl. And he'll have every opportunity to have some success here to build some momentum going into the offseason.
You think Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo have made their mind up?
Just by watching today, they were both out there. They were participating. I would think the LSU feels like they're in a good position to bring both guys back. I think probably if we're choosing between the two, Mekhi is maybe the one that I could see leaving a little bit more than Mason, just because there's only so much more that I think Wingo can do to help his draft stock. But they're both obviously big priorities for LSU to bring back into the fold. You just lost Tygie Hill to the transfer portal today, so you're losing some depth in terms of numbers on the interior D line. So getting those two back, getting Jacoby and Guillory back, and that would certainly be a priority, I would think, if you're LSU. And I think that it's a good sign that they're practicing and that they're going to play in the bowl game. I would say that.
The dust is certainly not settled on the transfer portal with guys leaving LSU and guys coming into LSU. But big picture, over the last 3 weeks since they finished up the game against Texas A&M, do you feel any differently today than you did then about the state of where LSU's program is right now?
Yeah, I still would probably give it an incomplete. They've made one addition in the secondary so far with safety Jordan Gilbert. That was an important need for the roster, but I would have liked to have seen a cornerback or two join in on this class. From the portal, they've been going after. They've been aggressive with a couple of them, but I think that's certainly an area where you could see LSU making a move and trying to get some really elite talent to kind of help retool that cornerback room. And the Xavier Thomas pickup I thought was really nice. Obviously, receiver. We'll see if they add another. I think they're probably okay either way. If they add another, if they just keep it going with Xavier. So I would say that they've done a decent job so far, but there's obviously a lot of work to be done. I think you want to add another interior lineman to this mix. You definitely want to add to the secondary, and then maybe you add another linebacker or something like that. I do think there's still work to be done.
A.J. Swan likely headed to Baton Rouge via the transfer portal. What does that mean for LSU's quarterback situation?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great kind of safety net's not the right word to use, because I do think he'll come in and he'll compete and he'll push Nush, and but it's good to have somebody else in there that has some experience in case something does happen to Nussmeier. And I think it's exactly the kind of quarterback that you wanted to bring in, someone who has had some experience, but maybe has some untapped potential too that this coaching staff feels that they can really dive into and have a whole off season with to grow and develop and get better. And I think if the cards fall right, Nussmeier will be your guy in 2024. But it's certainly nice to have a guy like A.J. Swan, who's played 15 games, he's thrown for 22 touchdowns, over 2,400 yards in his career. So I think it's a great guy to have in the locker room, great guy to have in the quarterback room as well.
I know you and Sonny are covering recruiting a ton, and y'all have obviously got National Signing Day tomorrow. Is there a guy or two in this class that stands out to you as a potential start in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, look, there's a couple. Trey'Dez Green is certainly going to be up there, I think, for me. Kind of an under-the-radar guy who's kind of in the middle of this class in terms of rankings right now is linebacker Devon Keys out of Texas. He just went back-to-back with state championships at Aledo High School in Texas. Had over 170 tackles this year in his senior season. He's a pretty electric athlete, a guy that I know LSU is excited to bring in. He would be kind of my under-the-radar guy at a position of need, an inside linebacker. When you look at the future and kind of where that position group is going, I think he's definitely a guy that could push for some early playing time on special teams and possibly even get in the mix on defense as well.
Let's switch gears over to basketball briefly here, Glenn. Tigers get beat pretty good over in Houston on Saturday, but Jalen Cook makes his season debut and dishes out 6 assists with just 1 turnover. Any positive from the game against Texas?
Yeah, I think the offense looks a lot crisper. I think when he's out there, he can create not only for himself but for others, and you saw that really have an effect there in the second half as they kind of made their run to try to cut it down. And I think they got it down to at least 7 at one point. So there's, look, they're going to take some time here. I think Cook's going to be in the starting lineup tomorrow, and Matt McMahon told us that today. So we'll see. I mean, I do think that this team can be more competitive with Jalen Cook out there, but there's certainly some rust that needs to be knocked off. But I like the way the offense has looked, but you got to get the defense back up to speed.
How would you describe Matt McMahon's kind of temperament and how he's handling the early season struggles that he's had in year 2?
Yeah, I mean, he's very close to the vest kind of guy. He's not going to give you a whole lot of flamboyance and extra flavor with his answers. He's going to keep it pretty mellow yellow. But he's I think at the end of the day, they understand they're still in a little bit of a rebuild here. They're trying to retool this roster as best they can. But there's certainly some things I think that they want to attack here over the next several weeks. With kind of the not having school and being able to really have these players for a lot more time here going forward that they really want to get right and ahead of SEC play.
Will Baker's kind of been a non-factor in the Power 5 games, Power 6 games that LSU has played. Is there a way to get him going, or is there maybe a limitation there?
No, I according to McMahon today, he said he was sick the last couple of weeks. He's been fighting an illness, so it sounds like there's he's getting back into form. But yeah, I mean, McMahon seems to think he'll be fine. I still would like to see a little bit more from Will. But if he's been sick the last couple of weeks and trying to fight through it, then certainly that's respectable and understandable of why he's maybe had some up and down moments the last couple of weeks.
Where are you with an SEC win total in this group right now, if you had to guess?
Yeah, I'm probably hovering around the 5 to 7 range. I think that they'll certainly be a little bit better than they were last year. But I'm not ready to go in and say that they'll be a 500-ish team in the SEC play. I think they, at the absolute ceiling of this team can get there if Jalen Cook hits right and a lot of these guys continue to come along. But I have more of an inkling that it's going to be more in that 5, 6, 7 range come SEC play, which is an improvement, but still, you'd like to see more going into next year for sure.
Let everybody know what y'all got going on for National Signing Day tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of coverage, a lot of pre-writes that we're working on right now on guys signing. We'll have a live tracker. We'll obviously get a chance to talk with BK tomorrow after most of this is settled. So, and there might be 1 or 2 surprises that pop up by Friday. So, we'll keep everybody in tune for that. But I appreciate the plug there, Hunt. Thanks for having us.
I appreciate you coming on every Tuesday. We'll talk next week. Thanks, Glenn.
All right, thank you.
Glenn West, senior writer, Go 24/7. All your recruiting and team coverage needs. He and Sonny got you covered over there at Go 24/7. Signing day, that brings me back. I remember distinctly the Bash was out at LaBerge when I was covering it, and all the guys signed, and we got to hear from Les, and I went to the box. This is when signing day was in February, and I was going to write my story on the signing class and kind of what piecing it all together and what it meant for LSU. And so I went up to the press box. They were scrimmaging. They were like a week and a half, 2 weeks out from the opener, and they were scrimmaging. And I walk up in the press box to kind of set everything up, and there's Kim Mulkey sitting in the press box. She was Baylor's basketball coach at the time, and she was grinding this inter-squad scrimmage like a coach. I mean, Kramer was a freshman, and she was upset that he was playing shortstop because she knew he couldn't play shortstop because Bregman was there at shortstop, and she wanted him to go play second base, and I think he kicked a ground ball, and she was ticked off and slammed her hand on the desk. I would expect nothing less. We know Kim a little bit better now than we did then, and how fiery and intense she is, and she understands how college athletics works. But Kramer was just in his second semester at LSU, and I was just going up there for a little bit of quiet to write, and I was fascinated by watching Kim sit in the press box by herself and grind practice while her freshman son was trying to earn his way. And it took Kramer a couple of years, but he certainly figured it out. And funny enough, Kim found her way back here as well. Little signing day story there for you as we start to close out hour number 1. We'll come back and do just that. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
Jersey Mike's, Highway 30 in Gonzales, near the New Heritage Shopping Center. If I say that and you go, I don't know, you know where the Tanger Outlet Mall is? It's the same exit right there in Gonzales, just north of I-10, about a mile, and you'll run into the new and gorgeous Jersey Mike's, where they will serve you up some fantastic sandwiches. The original Italian is my favorite cold sub. It's ham, prosciutto, capicola, salami, pepperoni. Yes, that is 5 meats with that provolone cheese and fresh baked bread. You can try the club sub as well, traditional turkey, ham, and bacon with your lettuce and tomato, and they do the oil and vinegar if you get it Mike's way in there. It's fantastic stuff, but we always remind you about the catering they can do for you. If you'd like to feed the office to close out the year, if y'all are working long hours for year closeout, or winding things down, renewals are in, and you're just kind of running out the string here in 2020. Either way, getting a big sandwich tray from Jersey Mike's is a fantastic way to help feed the office. If you've got a bunch of family coming in, think about our friends at Highway 30 in Gonzales. That Jersey Mike's can serve you up big orders. They've done it for multiple high school football teams in a day. They can certainly help you out. Download the Jersey Mike's app. Stop by and see our friends, Highway 30 in Gonzales. Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's a luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside.
This Sunday, as we bring you 3 different NFL games, we start off with Colts-Falcons. Immediately following that, it is Cowboys and Dolphins. And then finally, the Patriots at Broncos. Tune in this Sunday to hear all 3 of those games here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You know, for years, LSU and Arkansas played on Black Friday. You're obviously well aware of that, and it was a manufactured rivalry with the big boot and the whole deal. And LSU fans constantly are belittling it. No, that's not really our rival. We care about Florida and Alabama, and Arkansas, and whatever the case may be. But that's what the situation was. And Arkansas kind of embraced it. They really liked it. They hate LSU and like having that kind of high profile spot where the eyes of the country kind of have to follow along with them. And so if something like in 2007 happens, everyone's talking about Arkansas. And then you switch over when you play Missouri. Nobody really cares about Arkansas and Missouri, and the eyes of the country aren't really watching. And Arkansas hasn't really embraced that Missouri rivalry because they kind of think of themselves as more of a traditional SEC team, even though those that were here pre-92 know that they're kind of a Southwest Conference team. But there is a little rivalry brewing between Arkansas and Missouri. And I'll tell you this, one of the reasons that was brought up, and this is fan talk. This is not talk from Hunter Yurachek, Arkansas's AD. This is fan conjecture. But y'all know it's very difficult to recruit to Arkansas, and there aren't a lot of very good players in the state of Arkansas. However, this year, Arkansas, according to On3, does have 5 4-star prospects. And you might sneer at that and say, oh, Louisiana turns out 17 of this. I know. Arkansas doesn't usually do it. And so there were some fans that were thinking maybe we keep Sam Pittman around, get this class that has some in-state guys, and we can work through that. Well, you continue to lose, and then you get absolutely annihilated by Missouri, and it kind of feels like the bloom's off the rose there. Well, things kind of came to a head in the Twitter world today because one of those 4 stars in the state of Arkansas, Courtney Crutchfield, is a wide receiver. He's a second-ranked player in the state of Arkansas. He's from Pine Bluff, and he was down to Missouri and Arkansas. Now, Eli Drinkwitz is an Arkansas native. He went to Arkansas Tech for college. He was apparently offered the Arkansas job and decided to take the Missouri job instead, and that's how Sam Pittman got the Arkansas job. But he does have roots in Arkansas, and he's recruiting the state of Arkansas. And today, he got a commitment from Courtney Crutchfield and went to Twitter and just rubbed Arkansas's face right in it because he put their traditional Missouri hashtags, but he also added a little GIF on the tweet to rub it in a little bit more. Casey's got it up on the screen here. And it shows Eli Drinkwitz in a game this year doing a big fist pump. And you can't tell what game it is until the CBS scoreboard comes up mid-fist pump, and it's 41-0 Missouri. That's the highlight that comes from their annihilation of Arkansas. And he just so happened to use that GIF as the second-best player in the state of Arkansas commits to Missouri. Now, you look at On3's rankings of the state of Arkansas, and Charleston Collins is the number 1 player in the state of Arkansas, and Arkansas has a commitment from him. But Crutchfield's number 2. He's committed to Missouri. Walker White, not to be confused with Walter White, but Walker White is committed to Auburn. He's the 3rd-ranked player in the state. And Brian Huff is the 4th-ranked player in the state. He's committed to Missouri. So Missouri's got 2 of the top 4, and Auburn's got another. And then you got 1 of the top 4 for Arkansas. So even if that was the thought, like, hey, let's keep this recruiting class together, we'll keep Sam Pittman around. Well, the recruiting class is going elsewhere. And they continue to leak oil. Is anybody else see the writing on the wall like I do here? And I know I've been saying since October that I thought Gus Malzahn would be the head coach at Arkansas this coming season. Sam Pittman's going to be the head coach this coming season. But I think their team's going to stink. Their recruiting class is terrible. The fans are pissed, and they don't want to show up. Everything's kind of cratering in that program right now. But they just hired Bobby Petrino to be the offensive coordinator. We've already seen Bobby Petrino go back to Louisville. Do we think Sam Pittman's getting fired around Halloween next year and Bobby Petrino's going to be the interim and we're going to get him back in Pigville? Does that seem just too easy, too plausible? It feels that way to me. It feels like the writing is on the wall that Sam Pittman has brought in his replacement. He thinks it's trying to save his job. Maybe that's the case. But my gut tells me with KJ Jefferson transferring out, the recruiting class cratering, they're not doing great in the transfer portal, a lot more FCS guys back on their radar. This is not going to work. And Eli Drinkwitz is feasting on it because he's the guy that's got 10 wins and is playing Ohio State, and you've got 5 wins and aren't playing in a bowl game, and you're probably going to fire your coach. But it just feels like Bobby Petrino is going to be the head hog here shortly. Just lock away the motorcycle keys, I guess, and the assistants he hires. May have been uncalled for, but that's what it looks like. Going to do it here for hour number 1 on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on Google or YouTube. Hunt on LSU practice report from today. Saw a lot in LSU's prep for Wisconsin. That'll be up at Hunt on LSU on YouTube. When we come back after Sports Center, we'll change gears to the black and gold. Is the defense finding itself again? Come back, we'll find out.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on new 23 Jeep Grand Cherokee. $10,000 off new Jeep Grand Cherokee. And all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Go
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Is SportsCenter.
Grizzlies star guard John Morant ready to make his season debut tonight against the Pelicans. He just finished serving a 25-game suspension stemming from 2 incidents, posing with handguns during live stream videos. Following the Eagles' 3rd straight loss, quarterback Jalen Hurts made it clear he thinks execution and commitment are among the team's issues. Dallas and Philadelphia, each 10-4. NFC East leading Cowboys currently 2nd in the NFC. The Eagles are 5th in the conference. ESPN NFL analyst Jeff Saturday.
I guess I'll still lean the Eagles. I probably have more confidence that the Eagles will find a way because they can make games ugly and kind of grimy, and they found ways to beat good teams throughout the season that way. The Cowboys haven't done that quite as well.
Jeff Saturday on Unsportsmanlike. It appears the Jets will have to wait until next season for the return of quarterback Aaron Rodgers from a torn Achilles. Told the Pat McAfee Show he'd be pushing to play if he was 100%. It'll take a few weeks, though, to get there. He also said he expects to play for New York well past 2024. Washington's Kalen DeBoer is the AP College Football Coach of the Year.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Appreciate you being with us. Start your work week off right. Got Jacob Beck and Casey Gaines back there on the 1s and 2s. Sharif Ishak will be along in 30 minutes to talk Saints and Pels. I'd like to talk a little Saints defense with you. This is a unit that we believe to be the backbone of the organization right now. In the transition from Sean Payton to Dennis Allen, you believed that that side of the ball would keep its continuity, and you would have to evolve a little bit offensively. It started with Jameis Winston. He got hurt. You went to Andy Dalton. And then you decided to make the investment in Derek Carr and to surround him with the requisite pieces to form a functional offense to go with one of the league's best defenses and defensive coaches in Dennis Allen. And last year, while the offense did falter, the defense played great, especially late in the season. Really, really well. And then you started off this year and you held Tennessee to 15. And you went to Carolina and you held them to 17 and you were 2-0. And even though you lost at Green Bay, you only gave up 18 points. Yeah, you had a 3-score lead that you couldn't hold against Jordan Love, and that wasn't great on defense. You held them to 18 points, and at that point, you're riding a streak of holding opponents under 20 points that you just don't see this day and age in football. But you saw some cracks in the armor against Tampa. Mayfield had a nice day in that one, and they scored 26 points. And after you whitewashed a terrible New England team, Houston, you couldn't hold a lead. Jacksonville scored 31 on you. Tyson Bagent got things going with the Bears, hitting Cole Kmet for touchdowns. Minnesota, with the quarterback who just got there, scores 27 points on you. You lose to Atlanta. Detroit scores 33. And, the defense just doesn't look anything close to dominant. Yeah, the offense has had its issues, but the defense is supposed to be what keeps you in games and wins them for you late. And it wasn't the case for 8 weeks. And back 2 weeks ago, I did a segment where I outlined that the first quarter defense had been bad. The fourth quarter defense was bad. You weren't rushing the passer at all. The run defense was getting gashed. It looked like your additions of Colin Saunders and Nathan Shepard were not transformative on the defensive front. Brzez's been pretty good rushing the passer, but not ready to be an all-pro type guy as a rookie. You don't use Isaiah Foskey. Like, it felt like your defense was leaking oil. And I did a segment like, is the foundation of the organization, which was the defense during this transition, faltering? And the answer at that point I felt was like, yeah, you're getting older. You're not stopping people. You're not protecting leads. You're not getting off to a good start. You're not rushing the passer. None of it's very good outside of the ability to cover. When Lattimore was healthy, Adebo, Alontae Taylor, even May and Matthew, like you've covered well. But the rest of the defense was not good from basically October 1st through December 3rd. October, November, not good. But the last 2 weeks, you've held Carolina and New York without a touchdown. You beat Carolina 28-6. You beat the Giants 24-6. And in so doing, you have done a better job of rushing the passer. Only 1 sack against Carolina, but you were in Bryce Young's face a good bit of that game. You made him move his feet a lot of that game. That's one of those games where the statistics don't necessarily tell the entire story. Now, they did in the Giants game. You had 7 sacks on DeVito. And they were running TE twists and stunts. They were bringing Demario Davis late. Like, they were doing basically whatever they wanted. And they were getting home to Mr. DeVito. And that's a very encouraging thing because that's the missing piece to this defense. If they can rush the passer, we already know they can cover. So was this a faction of the Saints finding something with the pass rush, or was this atrocious Carolina and New York? Well, the Giants have allowed the most sacks in football. They're dead last. So that doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. Now, the Saints' 7 sacks against New York contribute to that, and I fully recognize that, but they're the worst in the NFL, and Carolina is 4th to last. So they're giving up a lot of sacks as well. And if you look at this in totality, not just the last 2 weeks, only 4 teams in the NFL have fewer sacks than New Orleans. Demario Davis has 6.5. They've used him well the last couple of weeks. Kind of a heat-seeking missile. He can still play. He's still an all-pro level linebacker. I've talked about the Saints aging. He's one of the guys that is literally aging, but his level of play is still excellent. I could argue against Cam Jordan. I could argue against Tyrann Mathieu week to week. But Davis has been phenomenal. Carl Granderson has been great. 7.5 sacks this year. Those 2 guys have combined for 14 sacks. That's excellent work. Brian Brzee has shown flashes. 3.5 sacks this year. He's hit the quarterback 8 other times. But Cam Jordan's not giving you much. 2 sacks, 6 hits on the quarterback. 8 hits on the quarterback at this point in the season. That's not great production from Cam. The 2 guys that you paid significant amount of your free agent pool post Derek Carr, Colin Saunders, no sacks, kind of a non-factor at this point. He's only hit the quarterback twice this year. Nathan Shepard, 2.5 sacks, 5 QB hits this year. I like Granderson. I think Brzez's got a chance to be good. Passanio had 3 sacks last week. There needs to be more. And the Rams are not a great matchup from that perspective. They're 5th best in the NFL with only 27 sacks allowed in 14 games played. They're not even allowing 2 sacks a game. And I think some of that, not all, but some of that is because they've got a quarterback back there who knows what he's doing. Bryce Young has no idea what he's doing. Tommy DeVito has no idea what he's doing. Tyson Bagent has no idea what he's doing. Mac Jones has no idea what he's doing. Jordan Love at that point, no idea. You get the picture. Stafford, while he can't move, knows how to get rid of the football. So in this game, I don't expect the Saints to get a huge pass rush on Matt Stafford. But if you can show some of what you've shown the last 2 weeks, maybe with Stafford's quick decision making, the ball coming out quickly, you can play some press coverage and force some turnovers, which you have been very good at. I think in this game against LA, the more telling stat will not be if the Saints can get 4 sacks or 1 sack. The question is, can the Saints get 2 picks? Can the Saints get the 1 sack that leads to a strip in a short field for the offense? I don't expect 7 more sacks this week. This ain't Tommy DeVito and a bad Giants offensive line. But Stafford, over the course of his career, has turned the ball over a little bit. And if you can get a little pressure and you do know that you can cover and you can play press and shorten those windows up, this is, I think, a game for the Saints to potentially create a turnover or 2 if we're looking for this defense to find itself again. Because that's what it's going to take. Stafford will force some balls in there with that arm. We already know Baker Mayfield likes to be aggressive throwing the football, and the Falcons, quite frankly, don't know who their quarterback is. Today, they benched Desmond Ridder, and they're going with Heineke. Whatever. The Saints defense needs to be opportunistic against these 3 quarterbacks in a situation where you probably need to win out. Winning out wins you the division. There's a way you can go 2-1 and lose to the Bucs and still get the wild card, but it's tougher sell. You need a lot more things to happen than the Saints just taking care of their business. It's a short week. It's a better opponent. It's on the road. But maybe there are some turnovers to be had from the Saints defense. That at least is my hope as we start to look forward to the Saints and the Rams, 7:15 on Prime on Thursday night. We'll talk to Sharif Ishak coming up in 20 minutes about what he thinks about this matchup with the Saints and what he thinks about the prospects of the Saints. He's, generally speaking, been a very positive guy for the last 3 years with us talking about the Saints. However, he's been a little negative the last few weeks, so we'll see where Sharif's emotional state is coming up here in 20 minutes. We do have some clarification on LSU with the transfer portal with one of their players who I mentioned in the first hour that was at practice today. We'll talk a little bit about that and what it means for that position group coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
This holiday season, all your wishes are coming true on FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Been thinking about joining FanDuel? No better time to get in on the action than right now. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options. They include spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/1045ESPN and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the National Football League. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued, knowledge all bonus bet. It expires 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or somebody who has a game problem wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch, Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time to slip away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
The interior of an Infiniti is thoughtfully designed to be all about you. And by you, we mean every version of you. Because there's luxury you can feel, and there's luxury that lets you feel. Infinitely you. Experience luxury like never before with Infiniti Premium Care, included with the 2023 QX80 at your local retailer.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll get you an LSU practice report, and Saints getting ready to head out west, take on the Rams. We'll have the latest 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We've seen some Tigers jump into the transfer portal, as you would expect at this time of year, and one of them found a new home today. Marlon Martinez, depth piece on LSU's offensive line that's played a lot on the interior for LSU over the last 3 seasons, has decided he's going to head to Mississippi State and play for the Bulldogs to round out his career. I would imagine, I don't know anything about Mississippi State's offensive line for next year. I would imagine he has a really good chance to start there. He's been a solid player at LSU, but quite frankly, Brad Davis has built an elite-level offensive line, and Martinez was probably number 6 on that group, maybe number 7, depending on how you view Lance Hurd and where things shake out there. But Martinez is a good player, veteran player, and I think he'll land on his feet there in Starkville playing for the Bulldogs. Another player who entered his name in the transfer portal earlier this week via his social media, but appears that's not going to be the case anymore, is Sage Ryan. Multiple reports on the interwebs now that Ryan is going to come back and finish at LSU. And I was surprised when I went out there and saw him working out in the bowl practice this morning. If you want my full practice report on what I saw, you can go back and catch us on YouTube or anywhere you catch your audio on demand. I led today's show at 1 o'clock with my thoughts on LSU's practice, but one of my thoughts was that Sage Ryan was there, and it appears he's going to continue to be there through the bowl game and into next season. I'm a little torn on this entire thing with LSU's defense because guys transferring out is generally not a positive. When you lose numbers, you lose veterans, you lose depth, that's usually a detriment to your team. But at the same time, I'll be completely candid with you, the listener. If LSU takes the field against a Lincoln Riley offense on Labor Day weekend of next year with Javian Toviano, Savion Jones, Mason Smith, Mekhi Wingo, Braden Swinson, Sage Ryan, Ashton Stamps, Greg Penn, Harold Perkins, Whit Weeks, Ryan Yates, and Major Burns, like, there's going to be a part of me that feels a little uneasy about that, okay? Because we just watched, statistically, a very, very underwhelming defense. And while returning starters, I mean, you get those preview magazines in July every year, right? And you start scrolling through and you see the schedule but you go through the depth chart and you see the bolded names. Well, how many returners do you have? And I would suggest that if LSU returned 10 starters on this defense, I'd be nervous about it. Now, they've gone in the transfer portal, and Jordan Gilbert is a name that they've pulled in. You look into this recruiting class, and Sean Washington is a junior college prospect that they've brought in. Those guys are not true freshmen that you're bringing in. Those are guys that have strong pedigrees. Gilbert's been a starter in the SEC at safety. Washington was a 4-star recruit that went to Georgia and was in junior college last year. And maybe those guys are starters for your team. And, yeah, Toviano and Stamps were freshmen, and maybe they're a lot better as sophomores. And, yes, Mekhi Wingo was hurt all of this year. Yes, Mason Smith missed all of fall camp and may not have found his sea legs until late. Yes, Harold Perkins is a better player today than he was in September. And Whit Weeks was a freshman, and I can talk myself into it. But when I'm thinking of an LSU football defense, I'm thinking of a top 15 unit in the country. And to me, it's hard to envision a top 15 unit in the country with all the same personnel that we saw in this unit. Right? So for me, yes, I want Mekhi Wingo back. Yes, I want Mason Smith back. Yes, I'm happy Sage Ryan has reconsidered because you're very young and inexperienced in the secondary. But I still need some additions to take place from the transfer portal to supplement this group. Because we're not quite in rose-colored glasses seasons. I'll go over my analogy that I use every year, all the time. If you've listened to me for 3 years, you know how this works. But we're not quite to the optimism swing yet. Every college football fan base, from Alabama to Clemson to Cal to Fresno State to Texas Tech to Purdue, every fan has the same arc every year. We'll start in August 1. The media goes out and they see practice, and this guy's in great shape, and this guy's healthy off of an injury, and all the quotes from the coaches are positive, and you're considering this 5-star freshman can do this, and you're suggesting this guy's made this improvement, and he's coming back, and it's optimism season in August. The strength coach comes on the radio and talks about how great a shape everybody is, and this guy ran 22 miles an hour, and this and that, and you hear the players talking about, oh, this dude's a dog, and he's going to be awesome, and that's the optimism's there. It's huge. And depending on how the season goes, there are peaks and valleys, and some have a lot of valleys, some have a lot of peaks, but by the time you get to December, you're either on cloud 9 or you're feeling like things are really, really bad. But no matter if you're on cloud 9 based on the results of the season or things are really bad, things start to happen in December, January, February, March. Recruiting class comes in. New coordinator gets hired. Quarterback change. Transfer portal additions. All those things start to happen. Well, this is going to change. This is going to be better. This is going to be much better than last year. Oh, then you go to spring practice. What report have you ever gotten from spring practice as this team sucks? That never happens in spring. No one ever messes up. No one ever loses. It's just a positivity train in the spring. And by then, you get to summer, and you've forgotten all about those November losses. And you're back up on cloud 9 to start August again. That's the way it always goes. So at this point in the calendar, we're not quite there yet because we don't know what LSU's personnel or staffing is going to look like on the defensive side of the ball next year. So I can still hold a little tension going, they've got to get a lot better. Where's that come from? And it's just an easier now, there's no foolproof way to do it. It just feels like an easier sell in terms of a talking point if there are major changes as opposed to running it back. Let's just see it run back. Again, you can run it back and be really good. You can bring in a whole bunch of new guys and be worse. We're just talking about how this thing is framed when we get to spring ball and we get to August. But Sage Ryan's going to be a part of the conversation. And it sounds like Mason Smith's going to be part of the conversation. And it sounds like Harold Perkins is part of the conversation. Savion Jones, David Toviano, Ashton Stamps. Sounds like they're part of the conversation. A lot of guys who played a lot of football for LSU going to need to see a step up. They'll get their first opportunity after a month off to get healthy, have a couple of weeks to practice, and go out there and play a Wisconsin offense that, quite frankly, isn't very good. Okay? You're looking at a Wisconsin team that we know that lost to Indiana. They lost to Northwestern. Like, it ain't a fun and gun system that Phil Longo is running up there. They've had significant issues like most of the season. So you would think that LSU's defense against a team that, scored 6 on Iowa, scored 10 on Ohio State, scored 14 on Indiana, scored 10 on Northwestern. This group, you'd feel like you could go out there and put up a fight. This is not Alabama. But you had trouble against Arkansas, and they're bad on offense. You had trouble against Florida, but your Heisman Trophy winner bailed you out. He's not coming to Tampa. So, step 1, LSU defense, play better against Wisconsin. Step 2, we see what changes happen over the course of that side of the ball. And then you show up for spring football, and we'll hope to frame the conversation a little bit more positively. But Sage Ryan entered the transfer portal earlier this week, has decided, I'm going to stay at LSU. And I think that there's probably something to the Louisiana factor there, where just a little bit tougher for those in-state guys to bail. You start relying on too many guys from outside the state, a little bit easier for them to pull the plug and head elsewhere. Sage Ryan will be part of LSU's defense next year, it does appear. All right, Plucker Sports Trivia tonight, 8:30, Nicholson location. Come on out, win Plucker's gift cards, watch some NBA, some bowl games, eat delicious wings, and some cold beer. We always have a lot of fun. Tuesday, 8:30, that's tonight, Nicholson location. Come on out for some sports trivia. Sharif Ishak on the Saints when we come back.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. So many reasons to call One Bath and Closets or to visit OneBathAndClosets.com. You love your interest rate. Not interested in moving right now, but could use an upgrade in your living situation? How about a new bathroom and a new closet? 1, you're staying put. You don't have to move. 2, you get a huge upgrade in bathroom or closet. They can do a full-scale remodel or renovation to either. And 3, you're adding value to that home while you chip away at that and create that equity. David Duvall and his team do fantastic work. I invite you to go to OneBathAndClosets.com and look at some pictures of their great work. See the testimonials their satisfied customers have put up on that site. They can do small things like a tub-to-shower conversion in and out. They can do full-scale renovations or remodels. Just see what works for you. Financing options are available at One Bath and Closets. You won't know what they can do for you unless you get that consultation. Have David Duvall and his team come out and show you what they can do. One Bath and Closets. Find them at OneBathAndClosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Would a couple that just came from a couples massage have any use for the massage seats of the Infiniti QX60? Yes, it appears they would. With driver and passenger massage seats, mute all your notifications and feel infinitely you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Live at Lunch. The original walk-ons, Burbank at Nicholson. Scott Rabelais will be with us along with Wes Reynolds and professional sports handicapper Randy McKay. Live at Lunch, 11 a.m. weekdays on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, let's talk Saints. To do so, we'll bring in Sharif Ishak from WDSU on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. He joins us now. Sharif, how are you?
I told you things would be better after last week, and here we are.
Is it true you're getting a Saints 2023 NFC South Champions tattoo on your back?
Yep, 8-9 Saints, NFC South champs.
Are they going to win the South?
I don't know, man. They're going to have to win those final 2 games for sure. This short week game is going to be tough for them, though.
Let's talk about the game on Sunday. Tommy DeVito in the building. Saints defense doesn't allow a touchdown again. Are you believing in the Saints D?
Well, I'll say it this way. They took care of the quarterbacks they were supposed to take care of in this 3-game homestand. A struggling Bryce Young and Tommy DeVito, the darling, came down to earth finally. But, hey, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. The 7 sacks, the most they've had all season. Didn't get a turnover. That's the one thing that was a little surprising. They couldn't get 1 turnover in that game. Now, the takeaways have kind of fallen off a bit, and the sacks have come up a bit because that's the one thing we've talked about, hey, getting pressure and sacks, which they've done. Now, the takeaways are starting to fall a little bit. But, yeah, the defense, I think they're playing a little bit better. And this is being done without Marshawn Lattimore, by the way. And I think Isaac Gidham and, Alante Taylor and Paulson Adebo, they're holding in their own while Lattimore is out. But, they took care of business like they were supposed to, in my opinion.
The coverage has been good all year with or without Lattimore. It's the pass rush and the run defense that have been huge problems. Do you think that this pass rush that they found is sustainable and if they can carry that on to L.A.?
Man, anybody who can hold Saquon Barkley to 14 rushing yards is a good thing. It's a real good thing. And, credit that to, like, DeMario Davis and the defensive line. They did a good job, containing him and not letting him get loose. But can it move on to L.A. on a short week is going to be the million-dollar question. Can they continue this for a 3rd straight game against a team that's, I think, playing their best football in the last month? And had they not lost to the Ravens, they'd be on a winning streak. And I think Stafford is finally getting into a rhythm with his receivers. And it's not a mobile quarterback, but we saw the same thing when they played Jared Goff and the Lions. They just got the ball out quickly. And that's the one thing the defensive backs are going to have to do this week. And they're going to have to be really playing their best game if that's going to be the case against those receivers.
The offense looked efficient to me for basically most of the game on Sunday. The first half wasn't a work of art, but it was pretty good, especially in the second half. What was the best part of the offense for the Saints on Sunday?
Derek Carr played his best game in the Saints uniform, and those 3 touchdown drives, he was 15 of 16.
Yeah.
And had Bowden not dropped that one pass, he'd have been perfect. I thought he played his best game, made good decisions, made good throws, and I can't believe it took 14 games for that to happen, but it finally happened, and he did it without Chris Olave on the field. And look, they keep using Jimmy Graham in the red zone. Should have been doing that all season long. And maybe the offense would have been a little more efficient in the red zone. But 9 of their last 10 trips to the red zone, they've scored a touchdown. So at least they're figuring things out. But for their sake, they probably hope it's not too little too late with these 3 games left.
How close is Alvin Kamara to the best version of Alvin Kamara right now?
You're seeing glimpses for sure. You know, the one thing I'd like to see from him, and I think a lot of people would like to see, are those big plays, the explosion plays. Haven't seen many of those. We saw a couple somewhat against the Colts, but you still haven't seen those 20-plus yard plays from Alvin much on a consistent basis this season. And I'm not sure if it's because of the offensive line, the play calling, the schemes, the defensive running, and trying to make sure he's not the guy that beats them. But he, for the most part, he's playing well this year. And it's not like the 17 through 19th or 20 Alvin Kamara, but he's been efficient, you know, giving the ball, and, you know, that whether in the run game or in the passing game, I think he's played pretty decent this year.
Are the vibes around the team any better than they were 3 weeks ago when you talk to Derek Carr, when you're in post game, when you go out to practice? Does it feel a little bit better?
Well, after 2 straight wins, yeah, it feels a little bit better, but I think they know that they put themselves in a bad spot at 7-7 and could have won a couple other games that they were supposed to win early this year. And things are going to be a little tight these next 3 weeks, but they feel a little bit better. A little bit better. I'm not going to say completely better, but 7-7 with the easiest schedule in NFL is not exactly the greatest thing in the world.
No, in your opinion, better thing for the Saints organization, finish with 3 wins here, get into the playoffs and see what you can do in the first round, or maybe things fall apart here and you go 1-2 over the last 2, you miss the playoffs, and there are some significant changes made. What do you think is the best case for the New Orleans Saints?
The fans?
Yeah,
probably.
sure.
I'm sure the fans are a little bit more than split on this. They'd probably like to see some changes. But the thing that they're going to have an issue with if it does fall apart is the roster. There's not much you can do with the roster and trading players, moving off players, because it isn't going to free up any space at all. And you have to try figuring out what you can do this offseason with your players. It's not going to be that attractive of a job if they do move on from Dennis. If it does completely implode here in the final 3 games, because the roster's the oldest in the NFL. There's not much you're going to be able to move, and you don't have many great draft picks. And I know Mickey is great with the whole cap and all that stuff, but you're not getting that much younger after this season. You're only continuing to get older because those guys that are old are going to have to come back again for another season. So I would say at this point, you at least want to try to get into the playoffs and appease some of the fans who are hardcore fans that, you know, want to see this team get to that 10-win mark like many predicted, 9 or 10 wins and win the NFC South. Because, man, if you look at the NFC, they're not really, outside of the 49ers, who's really that good? Once you get into the playoffs, I mean, honestly, it's cliche. Anything could happen. I mean, they might be accidentally host a game and win one game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. We thought, you know, that the Eagles and Cowboys were murder squads, but it turns out they've had their really bad clunker Saturdays as well. San Francisco is the only one that's kind of ridden above sea level the entire time. So it's very interesting. Your thoughts on what happens on Thursday night?
Man, they have not been good on these Thursday night football games for quite a while now, and they weren't good at home. Don't think they're going to win this game. The crazy stat hunt I saw the other day, home teams are 9-7 in Thursday night football games this year. That is an amazing stat. I'm going to go with the Rams. I think they win this game 28-21, 28-20, something like that. They're playing a little bit better football than the Saints are right now. And I kind of trust Sean McVay in that offense a little bit more. They're a little healthier, too, at important positions. So I think it's a close game, and I think the Rams win because they're at home, even though I said that stat about being 9-7.
Let's shift things over to the Pels. They've won 4 in a row since that embarrassment against the Lakers. 4 different leading scorers in those 4 games. They found a little something offensively?
Yeah, man. Once again, I said they weren't playing that great against the bad teams in the NBA, and they rip off 4 straight wins. Of course, it started with a good team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. They just absolutely bludgeoned the next 3 teams who are bad teams. Yeah, they're finding it. They're finding it in different ways, too. Brandon Ingram struggled against the Hornets, had the 9 turnovers. But, you have C.J. McCollum. And I think the unsung hero has been Jonas Valanciunas in this winning streak. He doesn't get enough recognition for the job he's done, and he's had double-doubles in every one of these games. So he's been the unsung hero, and he's helped get that offense a little bit moving. But CJ has really been the guy that's, having him back and shooting the three ball and driving and penetrating. And then Zion, he's done his part. We'll see if he plays tonight. He's questionable. He has an illness, which would be a shame because I think everyone's been waiting to see he and Ja's return to the NBA this year. But, yeah, I mean, this is exactly what it's supposed to look like. It's a high-scoring offense with James Borrego, calling the plays, making that offense hum. So let's see if they can keep it up in this nice stretch before we get to that 2024 calendar year because they got some tough games coming up.
I always like to ask this question. I like to take the pulse of kind of the city because we're a little removed from it. I mean, is there any buzz on a 4-game win streak for the Pels? I know they've been away from home, but
absolutely, absolutely. The buzz is big, man. The buzz is good. The fans have been packing the stadium. I give them credit. They've been showing up to the games, midweek games, no matter who they're playing right now. They've been showing up, and they're very excited. This is like what they've been waiting for, Hunt. They just, once again, they just want to hope that this team stays healthy and they can, keep it up at least. This 4-game winning streak is nice, but I'm still waiting on this team, kind of like how we're waiting on Alvin Kamara to have these explosive plays. I'm waiting on this team to go on this nice, long winning streak where you get towards 7 or 8, 9, 10 games. Last year they lost 10 games. You'd like to see them go 8 to 10 games in a row winning streak. You'd like to see that once or maybe twice a year. It hasn't happened under Willie Green, so that's something I think the fans are still waiting for. And I think with this nucleus, it could happen. It could happen. Just the way they're playing offensively, it's been nice. It's been really nice, especially from outside. They're starting to find a little rhythm from downtown.
Unfortunately, they don't play the Pistons until the middle of March because you would beat them. They've lost 23 in a row. So they'll play Memphis tonight in the blender. Then they'll go to Cleveland. They come back for 5 home games to wrap into the new year. So we'll talk a little more Pels as we keep moving forward here with Sharif. But we'll talk next week. Thanks, man.
All right, Hunt. The hope is they get to 20 wins before the calendar turns to 2024. They have a chance to at least do that.
We'll see. Thanks, man.
All right, anytime.
Sharif Ishak, WDSU, our New Orleans correspondent for all things Saints and Pels. Good vibes in the city, but weren't great as of 3 weeks ago when the Pels were not playing very well. And looked up and the Saints were a couple games under 500, and it's like, everything's bad. Well, 2 weeks later, Pels have ruled off 4 in a row. Saints have won 2 in a row. They're tied for first place in the South, and vibes a little bit better in the Big Easy. So we'll keep talking about it with our guy Sharif Ishak as we move forward. All right, let's come back and close it out with a little take it or leave it. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
$5.20 a day. $5.20 a day for the peace of mind that you're not going to lose power in your home or your office. That's what Boudreaux's Electric can offer you. Boudreaux's Electric has been run by Neil and Melissa Boudreaux for 40 years. They're a certified Generac generator dealer, a premier Generac generator dealer. And like I said, $5.20 for the lifetime of that 10-year free warranty to have the peace of mind that, hey, whether I stay in for a hurricane, whether there's an afternoon summer storm that knocks the power off, an ice storm, I'm going to have power. Or if I evacuate, my home's going to be powered so I don't come back to a 97-degree house with a ruined fridge and freezer. Nope. Generac generator will be humming. They can also monitor your generator 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if it does fail, whether that's during a time you need it or just normal everyday day of the week where something happens and the generator is malfunctioning, they'll know. They'll call you. They'll say, hey, something's up with the generator. Let's come fix it. They'll fix it so that when you do need that Generac generator, it is running. Boudreaux's Electric, second location, opening up in Gonzales here in a couple of weeks, but the phone line is already running. So go ahead and give them a call at 225-300-9389, 225-300-9389. That is Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
His name was Cain. He had a horse along the countryside. I saw him ride. One day they found him.
Life in Louisiana is a song. a symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
This Sunday, as we bring you 3 different NFL games, we start off with Colts-Falcons. Immediately following that, it is Cowboys and Dolphins. And then finally, the Patriots at Broncos. Tune in this Sunday to hear all 3 of those games here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
.104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and Citizens Bank and Trust invite you to bling in the holidays. Register today at 1045ESPN.com to win a $10,000 custom piece of jewelry crafted by Stuart Selassie himself. Bling in the holidays with Citizens Bank and Trust, Selassie Jewelry, and 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Little news, Jared Verse, Florida State defensive end, has opted out of the Orange Bowl. He will declare for the NFL draft and will not play. Kind of a weird situation there where walk off the field ACC champions thinking you're going to go try to play for a national championship, and all of a sudden you're never putting the jersey on again. So Jared Verse will not play in the Orange Bowl for the Noles. Big show tomorrow. It is National Signing Day, so we expect LSU to get, I think, 26 signatures tomorrow. I think there's one that may be holding out for a couple of days. I think Billy and Buddy told us about that yesterday. But in the event, we'll keep you up to date with all that goes on with the signatures for LSU. We'll certainly get you closer to the Saints and the Rams. JD McCallum on 3 Sports will be with us. It'll be a What If Wednesday, so lots to get to on tomorrow's show. Very much looking forward to that. But we still have to close out our Tuesday shows. Let's do it with some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. Kevin Kisner will be joining NBC as their lead analyst for the beginning of the PGA Tour season. Kiz on the PGA Tour, take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I'm curious to hear it. I could see where Kisner might be a little bit too much on the beer drinking Southern boy deal to not give me like real info that I want as a viewer. I want to know where the ball needs to land. I want to know.
I think he knows that, though.
He does. And there's no doubt. He's played on the tour for 15 years. So, but I want to hear about it as opposed to, he's a hell of a dude to love, kicking. Like, I don't want the podcast Kisner on the television broadcast. I'm 100% in on giving it a shot. I just want to make sure that it's executed the right way. I like Kevin Kisner. I think he's a likable dude, and I hope he crushes it.
The Knicks have reportedly denied Emily Ratajkowski future comped courtside tickets because she recently left early during a 21-point comeback win. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'm leaving this. So you're comping her tickets. Why? Because you like the fact that stars show up to the Knicks game.
And how often do all the stars always stay the whole game? Probably
no,
rarely.
Because the Knicks suck every single year. And so I've been to one Knicks game in Madison Square Garden, and in like the second quarter, they pan the crowd and they go, here's the Jonas Brothers, and there's Cameron Diaz, and there's Emily Ratajkowski, and Brad Pitt's here. And like that's part of going to the Knicks game. When you do the 21-point comeback in the fourth quarter, no one cares about the celebrities. At that point, we're on to the basketball game. We did the celebrity thing in the Madison Square Garden and the Billy Joel video and all that in the first quarter. So Emily Ratajkowski needs the ticket because she's more interesting and better to look at than the Knicks anyway. So, yeah, give her the tickets.
Staying in the tri-state area, a New Jersey pizzeria canceled an event that Giants QB Tommy DeVito was going to appear at, but the QB's agent, who of course made famous from the Monday Night Football appearance, wearing a hat and some attire that was reminiscent of a certain crime family, or not crime family, but just mafia in general. Anyway, they canceled the appearance because his agent called them and said, actually, it's not going to be $10,000 anymore. It's going to be $20,000. This was after he led the comeback win over the Packers. Slimy move by the agent. Take it or leave it.
Shocker.
Real surprising.
I mean, this guy is, I'll take it, by the way. This guy is a cartoon character.
Yes.
Like, this is the guy that Tommy DeVito has entrusted to manage him with general managers and owners and business owners and to be his business runner, and he's a moron. He's given the shaft to these mom and pop pizzerias. He's dressed like an idiot. It's a funny story, and I don't think Tommy DeVito is going to be around in the NFL very long, but if he is, and you want to have a career like some of these backups that have been around for a while,
they want to get an actual agent.
Might want to get a real guy. Yeah, maybe he showed up as an undrafted free agent, let somebody from down the block do this because it's probably not going to last very long, and I'll go sell some insurance here later. But now he's got a chance to make a 5-year run out of this thing. He needs an adult doing this and not some guy who's playing a celebrity game. It's kind of sad, actually.
All right, last one here. The Lakers hung a mid-season tournament banner in their arena, and from what I've seen, apparently this banner is just going to be a singular banner, so if they win any more, they'll just add a date to it. It's not going to be a separate banner for each tournament. However, take it or leave it.
Here's what you do with the banner. You pull it down immediately from the rafters, and you shove it in a trash can or in a dumpster or buried beneath the arena somewhere. This is Magic Johnson. This is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Showtime Lakers. It's Kobe. It's Shaq. It's one of the storied franchises in the history of sports. It's hallowed territory up there. You don't put an in-season, made-up event up there with all these people. No one even knows today who they beat in the final. It was last week. It's absolutely not. The NBA invented this thing. I know that there are diehards in the NBA that wanted to watch it. I know that Charlie and Jimmy are saying they were dead wrong because they thought it was stupid and they were into it. No one is into it. It's absolutely made up. You don't give trophies for who had the best record on Wednesdays during the season. You don't give trophies to who had the best record during day games. You don't give trophies for a made-up tournament that we just invented so somebody might watch us during football season. And you know what? If the Kings had won it, hang a banner. If the Hornets won it, hang a banner. The Lakers? No, not the Lakers. That thing does not go up there by Kareem's jersey. You don't put that up there next to Shaq's championships. That is an embarrassment to the franchise. Unacceptable. think I've said my piece on the NBA in-season tournament. That's it. Come on out and see us tonight at Plucker Sports Trivia, 8:30. We'll be watching the NBA games that aren't made up and have fake make-believe banners attached to them. And we'll be watching some bowl games as well. Always a lot of fun. We can come win gift cards and drink some beer, eat some wings. Come see us at Pluckers tonight, 8:30 for Sports Trivia. Open the show today with my practice report. LSU is on the indoor practice facility field today. Garrett Nussmeier is out there, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Sage Ryan. I gave my thoughts on everything that we saw at the top of the show. You can find that wherever you find us on demand, including Hunt on LSU, our YouTube channel that's all LSU football all the time. I gave also my thoughts on A.J. Swan joining the fold in the quarterback room for LSU as well. Glenn West of Go 24/7 was with us in the first hour. A little drama between Arkansas and Missouri to close out our number one. Saints, is this pass rush for real? Is this defense for real? My thoughts, you can find that at Hunt on Saints on YouTube, as well as our conversation with Sharif Ishak from WDSU. Matt's about to drive you home on After Further Review. We're back same time, same place tomorrow. It's the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.